Well, I just got home from my second ride on the Dreadnought. I'm calling it the trial by Jank. And the bike, oh my God. I'm still running a little bit of a high from the run, but it was amazing. There was just so much support in the fork, so much traction on that rear shock. I don't know, it was just a thing of beauty. Here's my Seymour Peak to Creek on my trial by Jank.
Blue, you're my boy!
The original idea behind this build was to put something together that I could take up to the bike park with the kids and have something to shuttle Seymour. So with that, the first test of the bike was on Whistler's Crank It Up, a blue level, flowy jump trail. That's the type of trail my kids absolutely love. I'll put a link to that up above so you can see how that went, but today I'm hitting Seymour.
This is the shore. This is great, actually.
Oh, it's totally shore riding.
Oh my God, yeah. After coming off a Crank It Up.
These set of trails are the absolute opposite of what we did up in Whistler. These are tech trails full of jank, gnar, rocks, roots. I find this loop we're doing today pretty challenging.
You've done Reboot, right? Nope. Oh, you haven't?
No, this is my inaugural. That's why I was like,
oh, dude.
super stoked as soon as you said.
Oh yeah, you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
That was a gnarly little shoot. I'm glad I didn't do it first. I would have killed myself. There's some armored sections here, just saying.
One of the first things you'll notice is this bike isn't quiet, and I was going in with eyes wide open on that. I have an EXT coil shock, which is known to have a little bit of squish, well, a lot of squish when it compresses, which is actually part of the design. They didn't bother engineering anyway to make it quieter. They just went with pure performance. The other one is the sound coming from the hub. This is an i9 Hydra, which is known to sound like a swarm of angry bees. I went in knowing that and went for it because of its lightweight and its high engagement. I was going to go for the Onyx Vesper, which has unlimited engagement and no noise, but it was just a bit too heavy compared to the i9 Hydra, and I was really looking to minimize the unsprung weight hanging off of the suspension. I have ridden a Vesper hub and an absolutely silent bike, and it was quite nice. But I realized on my Orbea rise that when I'm out on the trail, I actually don't really notice all of the noises coming off of the bike. I do a little bit sometimes, but overall not really. And I wanted to maximize performance and not worry about sound when I made this build. I do film quite a few of my rides, and I do like making trail review videos. Go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe. And I knew the buzz of the hub and the squish of the suspension would come through on the videos. But hey, I thought I would just add some drama to the rides and get some people engaging in the comments with some complaints of the noise.
Oh my God, this bike is running good.
It was running good. In my first ride video, I was talking about how the suspension felt a bit too stiff. I think maybe still the rear was a little bit too stiff, and I'll throw on a 300-pound spring, a little bit lighter, to help with that later on. But the fork, I reduced some of the high and low speed compression pressures, I turned up the rebound a bit, and it felt amazing. There was just so much support on it when things got a little bit nasty.
That section's always a little weird for the first time. Yeah.
This is an EXT ERA V2 fork, and I don't think it was quite as plush off the top as my Fox 34. But like I said, when things got steep and challenging, this fork gave me so much more confidence. I was really, really enjoying it on this ride.
Oh, I didn't handle that as well on this bike. Lighter? I don't know.
Yeah, the one place I noticed I was having a bit more trouble on this bike than on the rise was on the skinnies and the narrow bridges. I'm not sure if the added weight or the extra reach on the rise makes it a bit more stable on that kind of a straight line, but I was just having a little bit more issues making my way through those features on this bike. I talked to my buddies about it, and they think it might just be getting used to the new bike. I generally suck at skinnies anyway, but we'll see in the future if I start getting more used to it when I'm riding on this one versus on the rise.
The wall comes up on you for a pedal strike.
There's some tight gnar at the end of this trail.
Usually when I ride CBC, I have to walk at least 2 or 3 sections of the trail. On this ride, except for the very end, which you'll see soon, I made it through clean. Sure, I didn't do the double black optional lines, but I made through the main line without having to do a hike-a-bike.
Oh, this is it. This is a tight little, yeah.
This log ride's spooky.
Yeah.
I've never made this corner.
Yeah, he doesn't fuck with the corner though.
Nicely done. Sweet.
Nice ride. Like you gotta stay pretty.
Oh, I can't do it.
It's fun.
It's great, eh? It's like a playground.
Yeah. Oh, look, you can level up like today.
Yeah.
That one. And like, there's so many options.
I'm going to keep talking about the bike later on in the video, but as we enter Corkscrew here, I'm just going to let this play through. This is the best I've ever ridden this trail. You watch the North Shore locals fly through here, and I mean they fly through here. It's absolutely amazing. I usually really struggle to make my way down some of these drops and rock rolls, and I'm not saying I rode this amazing, but for me, this is the cleanest and fastest I've ever ridden it. And I think I fell in love with this bike on this trail.
I'm gonna keep rolling, dudes. No, it's okay. It's all flow. Yeah, we'll find out. Thanks, you too.
Okay, on to Pingu. Now I've never been able to do the first 2 drops here. It's just beyond my skill level. It's something I want to get to. I think it'll really help me smoothen out a lot of these trails. But for now, I need to do the ride arounds.
I did that one and then it's like, oh.
I know, I just remember this.
Those are the things I can't do.
Right.
It's just,
That was okay, and then it's just like,
that's fine.
and then the entrance to that one.
Go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
Are you sure?
I'll give you more space. I get nervous with people behind me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you.
I haven't ridden Pingu in a while, so.
I'm not even gonna make this corner. Fuck. Yeah. Eyes closed.
As I mentioned in my first ride video, I've been working on this build for over a year. It was an incentive for me to rehab after going through surgery last summer. Cam from BC Cleta in Vancouver was my general contractor for this project. He ordered in some parts from the store, I got some online, and I got my wheels built by a group of guys from Kissing Crow Cyclery in Vancouver. Adam, Nate, and Jeremy. Those guys put together an amazing set for me. I wanted something that was pretty compliant, and I got what I was looking for. I have on a set of Revel wheels that are kind of that carbon-ish material that just have a little bit of a different resonant frequency than regular carbon, and I have bird spokes, the spokes made from string. Those two don't have that same resonant frequency as metal, and they take away a little bit of the harshness from the trail as you're buzzing through. Now we're on to John Deere.
Yeah, well done, man.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Thanks. Have a good ride, guys.
You too.
This guy that we just passed here, he just did Deer John, which is, for me, a terrifying double black rock roll onto a big giant drop. He just casually rode through while we were looking at it. He was like super impressive. Man, I wish I could be young like that guy again. Although I probably don't wish I was young like that guy again, because I'd probably go try that stuff and absolutely kill myself. But anyway, that guy was super impressive. So if you're watching this, props to you. John Deere's a Blue Level North Shore flow trail, which for anyone not from the shore will think it's hilarious because it's not all that flowy. But compared to what we were riding above, there is a little bit more speed and flow. What I noticed on this trail was my confidence at keeping up speed. Usually I go a little bit slower here and roll a lot of these drops, but I found myself popping off more and doing a few more floats than I would have before. This is my first time running a coil shock, and I've heard that it helps add traction to that rear end, and I think I really noticed it. Combine that with the rearward axle path of the high pivot, and I felt like I was just floating over some of these bumps, and I just had that extra bit of traction and confidence to keep that speed just a little higher than I usually would. I know compared to the North Shore locals, this isn't all that fast, but for me, this is the fastest I've run this trail. Even though this bike is quite a bit slacker than the Revel Rise, it felt a lot more maneuverable in the tight sections. This Forbidden has a 63-degree head angle, where my Rise is approaching 66. But with the reduced reach on this bike, this one's 435 versus 450 on the Rise. It was just a lot easier for me to maneuver through when things got a little bit tighter. I really felt like I got the best of both worlds with the sizing of this bike. I got the added mobility from the reduced reach, and I got to enjoy the added confidence from that slack head angle. And I really noticed that on some of the rock rolls. Going over, I just felt a lot more planted and just a lot more confident that I'd make it through than when I was riding with that 66-degree head angle previously.
Whew. I did that roll on one fucking pedal.
Oh yeah? Weird. Are you okay?
Yeah.
That's different.
So you're doing tricks now?
Do you recommend that?
We're gonna do a Superman off that hit next time.
Up in the cockpit, I made a number of decisions to help take away some of the buzz of the trail to reduce fatigue for longer rides. The carbon bar is a SQLab 311 FLX, and like the one-up bar, it's a little more flexible than most of the carbon bars out there. It came at 740 millimeters wide, which is actually my preferred width, and this allows me to have my hands right on the very outer edge of the bars. It also has a 12-degree back sweep, which is the first time I've used one, but when I measured my natural ergonomics, I did fall at that 12-degree mark, and I did notice that my hands were a little bit more comfortable on the trail. For grips, I went with Rev grips. I know they're expensive, but I really love them on the Rise, and I do notice that it takes away a little bit of the vibration. Wait, what the hell? Who put that there? Yep, I crashed with literally 3 feet left of the trail. But I guess I had to test every aspect of the bike, and now I know what it's like going over the bars.
That's always happens to me. Don't wear a pad and then like, oh, I just hurt that body part, pad up there.
No, so dumb.
That's why I'm like a fucking walking condom now. It's like every pit I've hit.
Protection.
Yeah. The only thing left really are wrist guards. I guess and a neck guard.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit bypass.
And that's the trial by Jank. I can't tell you how excited I was at the end of this ride. This bike just worked for me. I love the size, I love the feel. I'll dial in a little bit more on the rear suspension and maybe a little bit more on the fork, but oh my gosh, I was in heaven.